There we go. See if we can get us out to YouTube real quick here.
They have market profile on TOS also, right?
I believe so. Hey, you can get market profile on any chart, I thought. There it is. That's still the same old volume profile. Yeah, it doesn't really do anything. That's okay.
Same, but different.
Yeah, it's just the same old volume profile. In the update script, it said there was updates to the volume profile, but
we did a new amazing thing.
Yeah,
no,
same old. So that 406 pivot, man, that thing is strong. 405.98. Boop! Right off that sucker. See ya. Now we're rounding over. Remember the thing about rounding tops. They look bearish as hell until they're not. And this is where our key pivot comes in. There's 405.40 right here. I remember before I cleared my charts, I had a pivot line at 405.41. Which was a weird number, but for some reason it seemed to be very significant.
Yeah, for the sectors we have tech retreating, financials bouncing off of a bottom, communications kind of ripping up to the upside. I don't know which that is. I mean, that must be Apple.
Apple and QCOM. Let's look at QCOM. I'll get Q off here.
And real estate, which spiked at the open and is retreating now.
Qualcomm coming off of a double bottom, but
Apple's communications, right? Am I
both communications and tech? So we've got.
I just mean which sector they get put in. I think it's SPDRC or XLC. I mean,
QCOM's kind of lagging, but we got a nice little double bottom here. We can come back up, make about a 50-cent move here. That doesn't impress me. I like bigger movers.
Yeah.
Ford broke that 1240 for a moment. 1250's next. Missed it by a penny. We'll see if it gets anywhere out of this consolidation point here. Let me see here. That's a half leg measured move from this guy. A full move would take it to like 1270. Don't know if it'll get that high today. This is going to be a fairly muted day, I think, overall for everything.
Yeah.
But Tesla, it's really threatening to break that $200 bill. And man, it can fly if it does with some force. We got pivot at 207, of course, and 214 is the extension. Here's that rounding top, not looking like a rounding top anymore. And look, our diamond, we're outside the channel. And I've always pointed this out too. When you have your angular resistance channel down and your angular support channel up, when price hangs out in this area for more than a few bars, it tends to wander from one end to the other. Our rounding top would suggest that if it does break, it'll run right up to about 405.80 pretty quickly. And that's about the top of our liquidity zone to boot. So we're looking at this two different ways, two different analysis styles, and they get to the same conclusion. If it's going to break a rounding top over and actually be a bearish reversal, you know, you've got the bottom of the box and you've got the opening low all in one place, but look at what the 200 is doing. It's moving up to, if price does break below the pivot here, that 200 will meet it at the bottom of the box. Kind of a magnet here. Kind of a moving pivot. It's always a point of interest for traders on every time frame. On the 5-second chart, we're under the 200. We rejected it twice here, outside of the angular resistance. So this could be starting to arc over and head for that regression line. Again, takes us to the bottom of the box.
Apple is XLK, so it's tech. I'm 0 for 2 today in trying to remember stuff.
There you go. Well, it's a start. Because you're correlating the market, aren't you? You're running all the different.
Yeah, yeah, but I should know that. I should have that off the top of my head. It's one of those things. If you're gonna do this thing when you're comparing the sectors like that, you're supposed to. I mean, it's only 11 of them. I only have to know and I get 50% of each of them basically. But that's pretty stupid. It's all right. Now I'll remember it.
Ran our diamond down. We didn't get the fake breakout this time, and we did right here, but it didn't rip up past the resistance point. It broke down. Any minute now, if we hang out here for too long, it'll go and pop right through that 200. There's a hammer printed. All right, we're going. Went right through the 200 with a bar. Test it for support. Bam, it's going.
Yep.
I love those rounding tops, man. They love the trap bears.
Yeah. And I still think it looks trappy right now, even for bulls.
Oh, it still is,
But
because there's still a resistance point right at the top of the box, and then 406 is the key pivot. So typically these rounding tops will pop up like this, and it'll trap both sides. So first it traps the bears on the pop, and then when the bulls start to take over the trend and try to chase it, it pops right back down, and then it usually blows through the pivot. All right, last chance for romance off the 20 here. If it can't hold this, it'll break over here, but it's likely to push through that 200 again and start building a quick measured move. So you get here to here. You can almost draw a regression line here, and then the expected measured move would be finishing up to about 405.80 until that happened. No, it's gonna go anyway.
It's just
Even the algos got trapped in that one. That's funny.
Yeah.
They of course cut losses, and that's what you're seeing there. But damn, that was fast.
Yeah, but I mean, it's pretty. I mean, I think we're due a little bit of a rundown, right?
That's just consolidating at this point, but it seems to be beating around that 200 for a couple more licks, and then we'll get a big move building up out of this somewhere. And the longer this goes on, the bigger the move will be, because we got divergence from our angular resistance on the lower channel and angular support on the upper channel. And like I said, there is a regression line right in the middle of those. 405.60. 405.65 if you want to call it a even nickel.
Russell's looking a little bit weaker than everything else right now. If you want to take that as a risk indication.
IWM is kind of the leader of canaries right now.
Yeah.
And 168 is the key support area. It cannot break, otherwise we will be bears. We will be like the bloodiest of bears.
168. Oh, that's a good bit away though.
Yeah,
huh?
it is. But we hit the top of the resistance here too. So if this is gonna be a bear flag, this is where it'll reject and break over. It may just mute today and then happen next week. As a bear flag failure, it could go up the other way too. So we could go and retrace half of this trend. We can go and hit 180. We can go and hit 186. Or we can break over in a bear flag and take a dive. So it's kind of both right now. Keep that on a watch for a minute. Meanwhile,
on over here.
I'm kind of throwing things together in cash all the while. While I still have a hedge on, I still have a small position in Tesla. I'm about to close if it can't crack this $200 bill. I do have a position in OPEN that's kicking ass.
Open door, is that? Yeah.
I'm thinking to start wheeling that. I did sell a put on it. I bought it back for a 90% return. Nothing major because it's not a high yielding options play at the moment, but if it becomes volatile, it will be. Why not get a bargain on it, you know?
And definitely. Yeah, but that's OPGN. That's open door, right? Or what is it?
OPEN.
No. OPEN. Okay.
Yeah, it's a whole company based on what got Zillow in trouble last year or the year before. You know, when they were buying a ton of houses, paying, above sticker price for them and expecting to flip them for a profit on the upturn. They got burnt when the rug got pulled, man.
Yeah, they got crushed by that, huh?
Yes. I shorted the ever-loving you-know-what about it. That's a weekly chart, yep. That whole breakover, man, I enjoyed the hell out of that. I saw it start to crumble when it started to get back into repeating this arm right here, and I'm like, as soon as that failed, I was like, oh, we're going short. Pfft, I enjoyed the hell out of that, guys.
Yeah.
And I went and just repeated it over and over and over again on the little chop, too. It was awesome.
That was really clean, wasn't it?
I actually made better returns shorting Zillow with put debit spreads mostly than I did running the same pattern on Peloton. Peloton I made a killing on too. That was a breakover right there. And then I went and traded all this garbage too, all these little pivots you see here. I had up here at one point.
I remember you trading that actually.
I loved being a bear on that one. I started calling it Pelitrash and just talking smack about it. Every time Kramer would come out and say buy it, I was like, nope, sell it. That was a riot, dude. I loved it.
Yeah.
And another one.
How's his ETF doing?
Oh, SGym.
Yeah.
I don't even look at the LGym.
That's funny. I didn't even know he had one.
Well, it's not
so
his.
I don't follow any of it.
No.
Oh, it's somebody that's shorting everything in his.
It goes the opposite of whatever he does.
Really?
I mean, it's super
Brilliant.
low volume, but if it ever becomes optionable, dude, I'm going to be all over that like a.
Wasn't he out there just like a week or two before the bank
Yeah.
failure, the SBF saying, "Oh, it's a solid company and it's great and buy here," and it's like, man, that would have been the short of the century.
Yep. Yeah.
There were people.
Yeah, I don't think the ETF was that
who
bad.
had short positions in that, and they had put options on it, and then they halted trading and shut it down. Well, those people were left in
I
limbo.
was gonna say that was the tricky part. You got to get
Right.
out. Never hold out for the
Hell
last
no.
bit. Always take your half out of the
Game
middle.
of hot potato, baby. Don't be the last one holding it. And then the other part is there's like no volume in this thing. I mean, none. It's ridiculously slow, but it still has price action. And put on the HA candles, you can see some stuff. Big old roundy right now, but if it becomes optionable, dude, I'm gonna be all over that like a large booty on a bike seat.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
Man. I just try to paint a picture with that one. I don't want to be too rude to anybody.
I think you're all good, John.
There's your pop. Finally, geez, took it forever to consolidate. We're at the regression line. If it pulls here, we got all this room to run. See ya, we're going. 405.79 to the damn penny on that 405.80.
Mm.
Nice and clean. Oh. Almost pushed it. What else are we watching today? There we go. Now we're going to finish it. Sweet. I like that. Diamonds, man. Gotta love them.
Working out perfectly.
406 is the ultimate extension. And look, our angular support from the upper channel will meet price at about 406.10 if it continues to run this. Let's see here. One of the things I've kind of been watching is slowly creeping along is LNC.
LNC?
Lincoln
What's that one?
National Corporation. They're a big insurance conglomerate, basically. But
Isn't that wasn't that one of those Buffett? Isn't he have that?
they took a big hit with the regional bank thing. You can see. I mean, it rolled right back down, but it's kind of crawling along with a reversal pattern in this area. And if it does get bullish, we could see it retrace some things. But let's look at this on a much bigger picture. Damn, 405.99. How did we know? Anytime it's had kind of this, big drop and accumulation with a reversal, it's made a clean 50% retracement pretty readily, right? We have this one here, ground up a 50% retracement, pulled back, and then continued on back to the original target. Now we're back here in another consolidation. 50% would be, about $27. So, could be a nice grinding swing trade. Plus, it pays a dividend, and it's quite the yield right now. So, as long as they don't discontinue or freeze the dividend on it, could be a decent little dividend stock. Plus, it's optionable. The options they were fairly liquid in this drop, but now you can go and sell like at the money or in the money puts and start to generate some yield on that if you so desired. Just kind of one of those. It's not incredible yield, but it's not bad. So let's say you make sell April 21st expiration at the money puts, like $20 puts. You're looking at $55, $60 yield on a $2,200 investment. Not terrible, but not great, around 2%. But that's kind of the expected thing with most dividend stocks is if you're going to wheel trade it and you're expecting yield on one side, be about 2%. Add that up. You've got a pretty nice yield on the dividend itself, and as long as you can avoid assignment, is particularly on the call side because you might miss a dividend. Add 2% on either side of price, and you get 4% monthly yield on the options. And in the span of a year, what is that? That's about let's see here. So 2% a month is 20% at 10 months and 24% at 12 months. So run that, and you end up with a 40% annual yield just selling options on that thing. That's pretty impressive. As long as you can avoid assignment.
It's an insane volatile stock, huh?
It kind of is, but it's not all that bad. It's a decent yield. It's at a bottom. I can expect a price target. It's got pretty regular retracement intervals. It's done it before. I can do it again. And then the other thing is, this was your 2008 drop right here.
Yeah.
Damn. But look how quick it made that 50% and then pushed. We're in crisis mode here, and as long as we don't have our monetary system completely collapse, we can expect at least a retracement of that move. But imagine if you were swinging options on this thing for years, and it ground its way up to $40. I mean, you've got in at half price. You got your share appreciation plus options income. It's one of those where I would I would seriously consider wheel trading this thing.
Yeah. There was people talking. I was just went through the articles quickly, and when it was at 40, everybody was saying what a steal
Right.
it was. Motley
Yeah.
Fool, Seeking Alpha. Everybody was like, "It's $40."
It's just
good.
kind of I mean, sure, it's been taking a beating over the years, but it's down at the bottom, and it's like, well, you can catch at least a 50% retracement. If it rejects at 50%, you don't have to hold it any longer. You can just off the damn thing, move on to the next sector rotation. I always look for sector rotation when it comes to wheel trades, and that's just one of the ones I'm seeing right now. So, same kind of thing with open. I can see the real estate market sort of finding a bottom here. If the dollar depreciates, well, of course, property values appreciate. They're the opposite of recession. Everything that's worth money becomes worth more money when the money itself becomes worth less. It's kind of a no-brainer there. So yeah, value-wise, I mean, it won't really change much. But when it comes to dollars and what are we trading? We're trading equity based on dollars. It makes sense. Tesla broke 200 with a couple pennies. Let's get close. And everything's kind of looking like a blow off here happening soon.
I wish it would get on with it because I got to go here in a few minutes. And it's going to push right till about 11 o'clock when I need to walk out of here. And then we're going to have like 100-point drop today.
Oh, Murphy's Law.
I'm like, if I could just get a small short position on going into the weekend, I would really like that.
If I convert that 5-second chart to a 30-second chart, that diamond is to the T.
Mm-hmm.
And, like I said, whenever we get a break, price does not like to hang out in the divergence very long. It usually goes one side or the other. And oftentimes it'll go to the other and back. So, yeah, we could get that 200-point drop when you walk away. Who knows? We're at the key pivot. We're at 406. It's kind of hanging out in the zone where it's either go or no go. And if it rejects here pretty hard, man, that's a quick drop. Just saying.
A quick trip to the south.
That's right. Deep south.
I totally understand being, a bullish day, the last day of the quarter, the last day of the month and everything. Everybody wants to, but they're going to want to close out their positions. You'd think there would have to be at least a little bit of a pullback going into a weekend with all the uncertainty in the world. I mean, this is the logic. So, but then again, if everybody's thinking short, the squeeze can be real.
That's the other thing too. They can get pinched. Had to turn my.
And this feels very squeezy to me.
Does. Hitting the extension.
NASDAQ is pushing like crazy.
And if I go back to the 5-second chart, we're probably right under the line. Which in reality I could go and adjust, but I don't really need to. Now we've got three pertinent fan lines here. And I'll just draw them in segments because they're going to be short-lived. 1, 2. This is the interesting one because this is going to be our regression line. And we got 3 from the same route up this way. Notice we had a bar right under that sucker the moment I drew it. This does not make sense, right? It's a regression line, but I drew it first. How did I know to do that? I went for this body and this body. That was my alignment points. Went through this on top of that candle and then came to that doji. Don't ask my lizard brain how it did that. But if you trace it back, it makes perfect sense to a root back here. Oh, damn it, grabbed the wrong line. Grr, I hate that. Hang on. Trying to grab the center of the circle and then the chart moved. So we come back here to this root. You don't always have to see a root to plot these lines. You just have to know where it came from and find a point in space later where you know it's going to be effective. And after a bunch of times doing it from the root, you'll realize you just got to draw in between the big bars. Your brain will just pick them out for you. You can just sort of put them out there. Why would that be important? Well, it gave you a 1-for-1 right here. There's one leg, there's two legs. Done. That's a 3-pointer. Well, 2-pointer. The lizard brain at work. Okay, looks like Q's kind of following. And Ford's kind of rolling, so I'm going to adjust that position. Pardon me. I think I might end up going vertical on that, but later on. Put side.
I have Lucian calling me. I'm going to give him a call back.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later, man. See you
See you
guys
later.
later. I don't think...
I think it's going to be kind of muted, but, you know, we got some price action we can trade. I'll stick around for a little while.
Have a good weekend.
You too, man. Taking off too?
No, not yet. I was just saying, have a good weekend,
Oh, gotcha.
Casper.
See if I can catch a trend line and a division.
I did a search on Wolf Waves, and there's quite a bit of information right now on YouTube.
Sweet. I'm going to have to get into that more because I've got a lot I can say about wolf waves, and I don't know if there's anybody applying them to a 5-second chart yet, but
I haven't seen any. The videos that I watched last night are all with higher time frames, like 1 hour, 2 hours, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
seems to be about right.
Now fan lines, I'm gonna research that later on tonight.
And the traditional fan lines always start from a single point. So kind of keep that in mind. I can call them fan lines, or we can call them, the other one to look up would be shaft lines.
Thank you, will do.
All right, that makes this our new regression line.
This is not pulling back.
No, it's kind of hovering here where it shouldn't be.
I mean, RTY has come off, but NQ is still pushing its highs.
I'm waiting to see a breakover on that. Like I could pull up QQQ and probably see about the same pattern. And I said there was a measured move target of what, 320? Just kind of eyeballing it. So here was your first leg. There's your accumulation. Half a leg is 320. Full leg would be like 323, 324. Be kind of insane to see. Got a 30-minute bar spinner bar complete. That's a measured move all by itself. There it is there. Trend, pullback, trend, 320 is about where I'd expect it to break over. Probably a good point to hedge your long positions at that point and see what happens, just to make sure you're not caught off sides. Tesla's just hanging onto that $200 bill. I want to see what happens next. I'm going to adjust this line to a new route.
That one you just adjusted, I can see, I can understand now all the touches you're talking
Right.
about. But the other one's very.
So this one's just following the slope here, and then this regression has
I see
peak
that.
here, peak here, peak here. So it's weird how this is a regression line. You'd expect it to be a division of the two angles. But if you find a trend where candles are stopping somewhere, you're literally seeing the edge of the liquidity zone as well. And when there's liquidity, there's going to be price action. Here's the fun part. This can turn into a diamond right here as well.
That regression line, I was just gonna say, it looks like a liquidation
Right.
zone, liquidity zone,
Or supply or demand, whatever you want to call it.
supply
And
demand.
then
Yeah.
you can literally take this from the same route and adjust it to fit that profile by taking it across this point here and this point here. And then you get your division.
Now, are you trying to accomplish how many touches? Does it really matter or no?
Yes and no. Typically, you get your price channel patterns in 3s, 5s, 7s, and 9s. I usually look for a break on 3 or a rejection on
We
3.
just broke our high again, sorry. But RTY is pushing down. We're going to have some serious volatility here in a minute, I
I think you're
think.
right. And that went right to that line and broke right there with a big old bearish engulfing. If we break this 8 period, we can go back to regression. It's only a 2-pointer though. I would wait for that setup to finish. I'm just kind of hanging out. I'm mostly cash at this point, except for a little Tesla, a little Amazon, and some hedging in QQQ. But my P&L is like pretty much flat today until I see a break.
When you say cash, that's like your cash account.
So my big account that I trade options in is sitting mostly cash at this moment.
Okay.
Every push up, I'm putting a little short on out for about a week in the ES. I'm just buying puts as far out as makes sense, 3,900 for about a week out, because I think we have to have a significant pullback after this move this week.
What I ended up doing, that Amazon position, as soon as it crossed that $100 line, I went ahead and bought back the put and rode the extension up to where it is now, almost 103. And I'm about to close that position. And in order to do so, I've got to pull off the covered call against it too. So I'm just sitting waiting for a little pullback to take that covered call off for a tiny bit of profit. I've had some time on it. And then just take the position off and turn it into cash. Rather than rolling out that leap put, it just makes more sense to pull it off now. It's getting close to that 45-day area where I'm just like, it might be prudent to wait. Because this market it's nuts right now. I don't trust it either way.
That is so true.
It's sitting at a point.
You cannot get married to an idea in either
Right.
direction.
And that 406, dude, if you look at this, makes a perfect right shoulder on a daily chart. So if this is a head and shoulders reversal, if this is bearish, this is where we expect that nasty gap down. And it can be today or next week. Who knows? Today is, like I said, it's a major expiration day. But we're still kind of in limbo on what we get out of this. And boy, if it rips down, dude, I've got quite the hedge in Q to catch that. And Q is pretty much the same setup, but we've got a blow off here. So we'll see what we get, but everything else I can flip on SPY and run bearish if I need to. I can also run bullish if it melts past this 406 area. And like I said, we can also very easily see an extension all the way up to 420.
Somebody's pushing this market to be able to short the crap out of it. That's just my read on this.
Betcha that's what it is.
They're pushing it as high as they can until they can just slam it.
They're generating strength to sell into so they can have liquidity to back out of their positions.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me too.
Well, and that makes perfect sense for the end of the quarter because that's, when they get their bonuses and that's, everybody's got to look good at the end of the quarter. And it's not been a great quarter. It's just this last week that's kind of redeemed itself. And then the April Fools will be on all the retailers that are going long right now.
Yep. Precisely. And that's another reason why I'm looking for a lot of wheel trading to happen for me in the whole month of April. I'm looking for big pullbacks. I'm looking for rotation and opportunity. Tesla's just broke its resistance point. Target 201.60 from here with the measured move. It's funny, it's on my grid too. That's where the grid point price is. Love that. It's essentially setting up, this is your trend. This is your accumulation. Your measured move will take you right to that target. You can draw boxes if you want, but there's no need. It's right there in front of you. The boxes are already there in the grid. And we're starting to build that diamond I was talking about.
Now I see algos playing in the ES on either side of the current price, and it's a battle royale just above 4,100, which is interesting. We need to push below 4,100 to get some movement to the downside. Otherwise, I think we're going higher.
Yeah.
I think 4,120 we could hit easily.
Just be careful. I'm seeing another diamond right before my eyes here. Borrow this. Bam, there's your quick sell. Faster than I could draw the damn thing. Q broke over too. Look at that. Nice. Oh, this just says market maker's dream right here. Touching back into our previous liquidity zone.
Yeah, and we're still sitting on top of that 4,100, which could now act as support. So if we bounce off of that, we could easily go higher. I want to see a break of this hard, and then I can walk away with a short on and a little protection.
There you go.
Come on, man. I got my order in. Got 7 minutes.
I might just reset my forward position because I can take some profit off right now. Oh wait, it's got time. All I have to do is sit and let it break one side or the other. It's such a cheap position. Leave it alone. Let it turn with the leaves. Alright. Tesla is interesting. Just nailed the measured move target almost. We're like literally 25 cents away from it. Yet the rest of the market's kind of pulling back if you look at SPY and Q. There's your first sign of trouble for that pullback right here. Right to the top of that demand zone with a doji. Watch this morning star. Right to 406 again. It'll stop at like 405.95. It just met this bar. Bam. Nope. Made the full extension. 406. Morning star complete. Candle closes in 1 second. Bam. If this trend is going to reverse here, it's got to break above that 8 and 20 and above that 406 to melt out here for a base move back to 406.30. And if it breaches 406.30, we can start stacking on the extension target for measured move. It'll either accumulate here and then eventually break it. It can reject it. But here's the move it owes. 405.40 to 406.30. Where does that get us above? That's 90 cents, so 90 cents above the mean puts us at 407. No, sorry. 407.20. $0.90 above the base only gives us 406.90. So anywhere in that range we could extend. We can get the same answer by just slapping on a trend line right through here. So my voice is still pretty dry this week, but I think I'm mostly over that cold, thankfully. Alright, Tesla met its measured move and then some. But look, this is a big trend. It's kind of pulling the market up with it.
Morning, everyone. Morning.
just kind of playing with our well, it's a lesser witching day, but it's still a lot of expirations today, so we're expecting muted price action, but we're getting actual good 2 and 3 pointers off of our 5-second chart here.
So our call from yesterday closing was pretty much dead on, right? Broke out overnight and then
Yep, we knew 406 was on the board. And man, it sets up the perfect measured move right to it. We're extending a little. And if we breach this area, we've got a 90-cent move to about 406.90, and possible from the root up would take us to 407.20. So somewhere in that range we can expect a push to if this continues to run. And the 406 pivot is the key to everything. We're right at a point where on the daily chart that 406 makes a perfect right shoulder. If this was your left shoulder, that's the head. This is your right shoulder. If it rejects in here, it'll be a pretty fast sell-off, and it can happen today or it can happen next week. The other conclusion is that it can also extend a measured move above this pivot and hit as high as 420. So we'll see what we get on this. Either it'll be a head and shoulders reversal, or it will be kind of a trap for a lot of bears and then push on to 420. If you look at Q, it's set up a little better. We've got basically a measured move set up here and a target up here at 342.80. Well, that kind of nullifies everything we're seeing on SPY here, right? And if Q goes up, SPY will kind of follow. And we've got an extension as high as 330 out of this. If you look at this as your measured move, you look at the previous high, 330 kind of fits, right? Even 334 extension. So at the same time, this does look a lot like a potential blow off top where it just breaks over and rips a face off to the downside. So time will tell. But we're at a point in the market where it could go either way, and as soon as next week.
Well, I'm out of here, guys. Have a great weekend and all the best to the market today. Thank you,
too,
Jeremy.
man. We'll see you next week, and have a great one. Try not to get into too much trouble.
I will try not to. Take care.
See you, man. So from open low to accumulation to open or to range high, perfect measured move. This is the point of the day where we say, now what? And it's 11 o'clock, so I like to say this time of day.
Yeah, if we're gonna have a reversal of this trend, it's now, and I have to head out to go trim my horse's feet.
The hooves trimmed. I've seen how they do that. It's kind of a neat process. Basically a hammer and chisel. Doing new shoes? Or just trimming to the edge?
No, I don't do shoes on my horses for a lot of reasons, but this is the new one that I brought up from Florida, and I don't think she's had her feet trimmed in 3 months, but she's got great feet, so
Awesome.
Shouldn't be a hard one. But yeah, it's almost an hour drive for me, so that's the sad part. I got to keep them so far away right now. They're closer to you, I think, than they are me.
One of my neighbors is a vet who takes care of a lot of different animals, including horses. But he takes care of the really bad stuff, like when they get an inclusion in their hoof and a big bone infection and stuff like that. He's a guy who drills a hole in the hoof to let all the stink out, basically, and treat it. So,
does he work on his own, or does he work at Woodside?
It might even be Woodside.
Yeah, Woodside's that's the biggest veterinary clinic we have in this area. There's nobody down here that does anything. I had to take my one mare last year to get her bred. I had to take her all the way to Charlottesville. was crazy. I'm used to Ocala, where there's a vet on every corner, and there's 20 of them in each one of the practices. So you can have a vet anytime, day or night, and there's hardly ever an emergency charge because they're just everywhere. And up here, it's just
It's like
awful.
all you get is emergency charges. Yeah.
Well, you just can't get them out. And when you do schedule an appointment, half the time they can't make it because somebody had an emergency and they only have 3 vets. And it's like, wait, you guys don't have like one guy on call? Well, if you have 3 emergencies and they're, Hampton Roads, this area is huge geographically, and then the bridges and the tunnels and the traffic, it's just like, and nobody wants to be a vet anymore. Well, we just pushed a new high.
I saw that.
4107 and 3/4 with UB. So we're going higher. I say 4110. We might hit 4120. Damn it, man. I want to put a short on before I leave.
Well, we breached that key point,
I did these options. That'll have to be good
Yeah.
enough.
and you can run spreads on that too. So I mean, you can minimize your risk.
Well, with the futures options, um, you can make a lot of money on them if you have a significant move. So you can, because the theta doesn't decay that fast. Either do same day expiration, so there's not much theta decay to worry about, or you go out a week or so and you go out to like the second or third standard deviation, so it's cheap. And if you get that, it has to be a significant move. If it just moves slowly, then yeah, you're not going to make any money, but you don't lose any either. So they're nice little lotto tickets, because when you have something like this, I mean, we could really easily see 4,000 again today, or 3,900 Monday or Tuesday. Those are worth spending a couple $100 to me, because you can easily make 1,000.
No, you can kill that. Here's a diamond top, by the way. Watch this push right to that previous resistance, about 406.30, and then break. I would love that. But yeah, I've got pretty much my Tesla positions wrapped up now. I'm done with that for now. I'm about to continue with the rest of the Amazon position. Wonder if I can turn that covered call into a spread and just let it go. It's far enough out of the money. I'm not worried about it. It's at 115. 115 strike and April 21st expiration. It's made enough. It's still in profit. It's just not. I mean, it could go another 15 cents and I'd be happy, but $15 isn't going to be a big deal. Considering what I sold that for on March 15th, I'm not going to complain. I sold that for $190 on March 15th. I think I'm okay. I'll close it. Like I said, I don't trust this market to go much higher than this right now. Sure, I can get back in on momentum later, but I think it would be very prudent, being at the end of the quarter, end of the month. I think cash is a good position for the moment. Just my opinion. Don't take that as a suggestion of doing something for yourself. Just,
I would concur.
it's the prudent thing to do.
Or find a way to hedge it.
And
because we could push either way significantly.
And I can, but I mean, I've taken so much profit on that position. It would be silly not to close it right now.
Yeah, you got to take. I mean, my rule of thumb is if I can get 80% of whatever I think is there, and just take it. Don't hold out for that. Don't be a dick for a tick.
Nope. And I'm right there too. I'm like right at 80% of my initial risk, so I'm completely happy and comfortable closing that position. There we go. The call is closed. And let's see if I can produce a red. I don't think so. Not with 100 shares. That'd be hilarious if I could. I've actually done that with penny stocks before, where like I've had a big ass order and just produced the red candle. It is hilarious. You know, you watch like 10,000 shares go by on the tape, and then all of a sudden you get a big ass red candle. Like, sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean to cause that red candle. There we go. Push it up a little more. Thanks, guys. All right, I'm out. I made that doji wiggle. Done deal. That's freeing because I can do so much more with that capital now. And like I said, I'm going to wait till next week before I do anything with it, really. There will be another swing on. There's plenty of other wheel trades out there I can have. I was kind of looking at a couple of options I could at least yield some good 4% returns on, maybe even a little bit higher. You ever look at SCHD?
SCHD.
It's basically a dividend ETF, but it trades low enough where you can wheel it very cheap.
Okay, Schwab.
The yield on it's not terrible. Let's see, 30-day yield, monthly yield on the dividend is 3.69%. And let me just pull it up, SCHD.
I tell you, I have been just killing it with the TQQQ because it's a $25 stock, basically.
Yeah.
It's a triple Q. But I mean, 10 days out expiration, the puts at the money are over $1, sometimes $1.50. And as long as you're okay holding that in your account, if you get put, because there's a lot of volatility, I mean, until it gets over 30, I'm all day long gonna just collect that, and because
comparatively, it's volatile. It's got lots and lots of yield on the options.
just wait for good pullback days. Like, don't do it
Right.
today, right? Or you're guaranteed to get put those things, and you're going to be upside down. But if you have a nice big pullback, and you can get in, sometimes you can get in at the money for like $2.
Yeah.
So that means if it drops even more, guess what? You're going to probably get $3 at the money. You know what I mean? So just load up on it the further it drops, because it's the Qs. I mean,
And then the other side of that is you can sell covered call against your long position too.
absolutely,
both at the same time.
absolutely. I've done that over and over and over in this small account, and I'm like, you know what? If that's the only trade I do, I just, for one, I know it's not going to zero, because some of these other ones, who would have thought that the 14th largest bank in the country would have went to zero in 3 days? That's a little, if that doesn't take your temperature, I don't know what will. Because you just don't know. To Warren Buffett's credit, management is everything. You don't have good managers.
It boils down to,
I like Ford. Ford is solid, you know.
It boils down to, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. That says you're a manager.
Yeah, exactly. And you are your own CEO.
Right.
All right, if I'm gonna have lunch, I gotta get going. So wait for the breakout. I'm leaving my desk.
Here it goes right now, up against resistance.
All right. See you guys Monday. Have a great day.
Right on the line, guys. That's awesome. You can see all these candles poking right to that limit. What happens next? Well, we had our diamond top, and this would be traditionally the fake pop before the drop. If it happens to drop here, it will be very dramatic. It'll be a very quick sell-off. If it doesn't, it can sit here and grind in this range, or it can even pop out. We don't know yet. We're going to wait and see. If you squint on the 1 minute chart, you can still see that diamond. It's right here. But yeah, this SCHD, I mean, you can yield about 4% selling either side of the equity monthly on the options.
Hey, Jeremy,
Yeah.
could you draw out that diamond for me? Because I'm trying to figure that
Sure,
out.
I'll draw it on both. So we've got through the extended line. So we've got the center of it is actually right between these two. Right there. I can adjust a little bit, but that's about the rough of it. And then if you look at it, if you
How did you draw that fourth line? Like,
so whenever you have a peak, you got to kind of use your eyeball and find the center, and then use one deviation below to find where they meet down here in space.
gotcha.
And then
Okay.
if you look,
Thank you.
it comes to a root here and up here. This one up here I could probably massage a little bit better because it's outside of the price. That little wick right there. Make it a little smoother that way, and then plus you can go and add your regression lines as well. Boom, diamond complete. And sometimes you'll get this fake breakout of the diamond and it'll rip back down. But we're right in that upper channel now. We hit the regression, backed off. We'll watch for support to arrive. And then there is a fan line back down here that's also still relevant. And the 200 meets it right there at that line. So it disappeared again. I hate that. That's weird.
You always amaze me when you draw like this, Jeremy. You are amazing.
It's just when you've done it for so long, you kind of recognize it without even thinking about it. It's just there, you know? The lizard brain sees it.
How long it take you to be able to do that, Jeremy? By the way?
I would say because of the volatility I've traded over the time, I had this type of thing down in about a year and a half. Because I'm always trading the highest
Wow.
volatility I can find in the market. When you get that, you start to recognize things very quickly. There we go, push down.
I think you are gifted, Jeremy. I mean, it's gonna take me 10 years to be able to do that.
I think you can get it quicker. We're getting enough practice every day.
Yeah, I'm trying as much as I can to watch you or to attend, especially in the morning before I go to work, because probably repetition is gonna make it stick in your mind. But it's a great work what you do.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for everything.
I appreciate you, being there and being able to recognize that. I mean, I like to stay humble. I don't, I'm not very receptive to compliments, but I do appreciate them. But with any diamond though, it's as simple as the fundamental you're looking for is range expansion followed by range contraction. And as long as you know that part of the sentence, the rest of it you can just spot it. And anytime you're in a zone where you start to recognize it, like we had back here. It'll take me a minute to get to this one. It's just as simple as saying, okay, well, there's volatility here, and then it's subtly faded away. So we got expansion and contraction. As long as you know those two parts, you can spot these diamonds all day long on any time frame.
So if I'm looking for an entry for a short position or a long position on a bigger time frame, do I wait for something to happen? What do you mean, the candle to break outside of these diamond?
So you get both. You get a channel each way, and while it's trending in this channel, you can treat it just as a channel. We got 1, 2, 3. Here comes 4th test on resistance. This is also your regression line. And even though it's not touching the actual line, we still have a range defined. We got 1, 2 touches on support. So we almost expect a reciprocate here coming back to the support. So right around 406.35. And if we know what to expect, we can make decisions. If it fails, we can sit and wait for the next expected move. So there was your push to regression. And then look, the body of that candle stopped right where it was expected. Even though it wicked out, it stopped exactly where it was expected. And that was 1, if you want to count it. 1, 2, that was the 3rd. And usually you'll get a break after 3 attempts. And there was the breakout bar, that was your signal. This guy here, and then boom. We're looking for a push to angular resistance. And then always be mindful, you can segment this twice. You always have a division in any channel. So you have multiple regression lines or multiple divisions of that channel. I need to turn the magnet off again. And then my line disappeared. Okay, well this update that I just downloaded today on this Webull app is full of glitches. Pfft. No idea what happened there. That was weird, but now this line's doubled. I'll figure it out later. As long as I have some lines I can respect, I can trade. So there was a rejection off of this division, back to regression. Now we're below regression. Can expect it back here in the middle somewhere, about 406.45. Let's wait for the setup. It may fail. We're back above the 8. Let's hold one more bar and push that regression. It can go back up to 406.70. Remaining bullish. We've just about hit the expected measured move. 406.70 to 406.75 is expected here. And that's from base here through your accumulation through here. So there is unfinished business here on the 1 minute chart. So we can see it stay high in this channel until it eventually rejects and pulls back. I've had a couple times where I would draw a rising channel and be waiting for the break in the 50% retracement, and then watch the channel just go parabolic and break out the top side. Pretty rare to happen on a day like today at the end of a quarter, end of the month, that sort of thing. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen. So let me take this extension out real quick. So usually when you have any kind of a channel where price is just kind of rising within that channel, you usually expect a 50% retracement if it breaks angular support. This is what I'm talking about. This has become parabolic now. This is unexpected. We are way outside that channel. And same with our diamond. We're outside the angular resistance by far. Doesn't mean you can nullify the channel. It's still there. But you can start looking at measured moves. So here is first trend. There's your pullback. There's your second leg. Target met. You don't have to be confined to what you're drawing. You can kind of think outside of it, so to speak. There's TQ rising way up. This SCHD I was just going to point out, that's a nice double bottom on the daily. Extension targets, about $74. We could go to $75. In about that range, I would expect a pullback. But in short term, it's a dividend giant. I mean, look at that yield. It's pretty nice. All right, well, I'm going to go eat some lunch so I can get ready for, I do a thing at 12 o'clock over at money.net. If you guys want to catch me on their YouTube channel, I'll be there. I'll be hanging out with Creed, and about 20-30 minutes we hang out and just talk about the market, different trade ideas, different strategies and such. Kind of a free-for-all. For some reason, those guys are interested in what I have to say, so I'll keep saying, I guess. But at any rate, definitely be kind of on your toes in this market. This is a crazy market right now. It shouldn't be here, but we did know that we have that extension to 407.20, which remember was 90 cents above either the base or the mean of this consolidation. We're about there. In spite of this channel, and in spite of this channel. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll try and come back into our Discord channel on Power Hour. It's kind of iffy unless we get some serious volatility today. If we don't, I can kind of hang out and chat anyway or something like that. But we'll keep in touch. Otherwise, if you don't see me, have a great weekend, everyone.
You too, Jeremy.
Will do.